Greetings everyone, Ben here from TheVirtualEconomist, and welcome to another allegedly clickbait video. As I'm sure most of you guys are aware, I've been trading for quite some time now, and during this time I picked up on many trading techniques that have made trading so much easier for me. Now, I'm not talking about generic trading tips such as how to buy quick sells, I'm actually talking about simple techniques that I use to help facilitate trading. In essence, I'm talking less about the actual trades and more about the means I use to get them. The reason I wanted to make this video is quite straightforward. The more I traded, the more I realized just how few people actually knew about some of the most helpful of these tips, and I truly believe that utilizing some of these techniques can give you a competitive edge in the trading community. So I figured, why not just share the knowledge I have with all of you guys? Alright, so without further ado, let's jump right on into 10 life hacks that will make trading so much easier. Number 1, when trading with somebody, always open their inventory in backpack.tf. This is a great example of something that I assumed everyone always did, but I continue to be proved wrong time and time again. If somebody adds you to offer their item on yours, the very first thing you should do is find a way to take a look at their entire backpack so you can easily see everything they have in their inventory. That being said, however, there is literally no point in using the crappy Steam inventory browser. It is very frustrating to navigate and it lacks key information that you will need to help you decide a trade. So instead, always use backpack.tf. The website works great for viewing inventory since you can easily price check every item in a backpack in a matter of seconds, and you can view sellers and histories at the click of a button. Plus, seeing somebody's backpack value or size can give you crucial information about an incoming offer and can help you enormously in the negotiating process. Of course, in order to view somebody's inventory in backpack.tf, you will need to know how to find their Steam community URL to go ahead and put it in the search. And that brings me to my second tip. Number 2, always know how to find somebody's Steam community URL. Whether you need a link to send to a friend or to look up an inventory, knowing how to find somebody's Steam community URL can be an incredibly important part of trading. However, if you're less familiar with different platforms like the Steam mobile app or sketchy trade server software, it might seem impossible to hunt these down in certain scenarios. But don't fear, here's how to find somebody's Steam community URL on each of the important platforms. The first two are quite simple since you will probably be using a normal web browser like Google Chrome to find these URLs. If you have somebody's inventory up on backpack.tf, simply click on their profile picture or hover over their name and click community. Then go ahead and copy the link like normal. TF2 Outpost is pretty similar. Just go ahead and click on the person's name on a trade and hit Steam profile to again copy the above URL. If you're on the Steam desktop application, it is a little bit more complicated. What you need to do is go to Steam settings under interface and make sure you have the box checked display Steam URL address bar when available. Then whenever you see somebody's profile, you can just go ahead and copy it from the URL at the top. If you're on a trade server, do !backpack and find the person you want to view their backpack. Then wait for the horrible server plugin to load and right click and click copy page URL. If the server doesn't have that command available, you can always go ahead and trade up a person and then double click on their profile picture to again copy the new URL from the window that pops up. Lastly, if you're on the Steam mobile app, you may notice that there is no option to enable a normal URL bar. So instead, click on somebody's profile and hold down on another link such as groups, games, inventory, or reviews. It doesn't really matter what one you pick, as this will still contain the URL that you need, so just go ahead and copy it to your clipboard. If you're going to enter the URL into backpack.tf, just go ahead and put it into the search. However, you may notice that it might not recognize a URL on the first try. So in this case, just get rid of any type before and after the actual ID number or name, and it should come up pretty easily. Number 3, make your Steam profile as accessible as possible. This is more of a quality of life thing, but I think it can easily double the amount of trade offers or ads you receive on items you've listed on the classifieds. The first part of this is making sure you have a public profile, comment section, and inventory. Many people will assume that you're a scammer if your profile or inventory is private, and certain servers or websites might even ban you, so you definitely want to have these public if you plan on trading to any extent. Also, even if you do have a public profile, always have your comments set to public. You wouldn't believe how many times I've struggled to get into contact with people simply because their freaking comments were set to friends only. Please, I am begging you, set your comments to public. The second part of this is to provide all the necessary trading links on your profile. Anything you think somebody might ask for, you should go ahead and add it. Add your trade offer link, your backpack.tf profile, outpost profile, Steam rep, etc. You want to make it quick and easy for somebody to get wherever they want to go. Number 4, never say you don't want certain items. One thing I see many traders do is list their items on backpack.tf or Outpost with an insane amount of invisible asterisks. They might be listing an unusual and say, no 3rd gens, offers can't be duped, gifted, inflated, new hats, heavy, robo, demo, nuts and bolts, you get the picture. These people basically limit themselves to only accepting a tiny minority of offers and screw themselves over massively. Sure, they might want to avoid bad items, but many people are willing to massively overpay when they know they have a worse item. If you're open to all offers, you never know, you might just get a couple of keys overpay with a killstreak strange or painted items. Number 5, know how to find how long somebody has had an item. This is something that can be incredibly useful, especially for unusual trading. Oftentimes, you can easily gauge how hard an item is to sell by simply looking at how long the current owner has had it. If somebody's had an item for say 3 or 4 weeks, it often means that it hasn't gotten very many offers and it probably won't sell very well if you go ahead and trade for it. So here's how to check. If somebody's had their item for sale on backpack.tf, a little known fact is that you can click on the bump time to view exactly when the owner listed the item for sale. Of course, Outpost just straight up tells you, so you don't really have to worry about anything special there. However, if somebody has relisted an item a number of times, always go ahead and check the item history on backpack.tf so you can see exactly how long the item has remained in the user's inventory. If you take a look at the second person in the history, the date shown should be the exact date that the current owner traded for the item. Number 6, when joining a trade server, always use the join when open feature. To be brutally honest with you, there really are not that many good trade servers, and the ones that don't suck are often full 24/7. So in order to guarantee that you get into a good server like Vatican City, I would recommend that you always use the join when open feature by going into the auto retry menu. You will probably have to wait a few minutes, but it is much better than hopping around a bunch of crappy half empty servers while you wait. Sometimes it might glitch out when a donator takes a reserved spot, but other than that, it should work pretty well. Number 7, bind your advertisements on a trade server. When I first started trading, whenever I went onto trade servers, I always just copied and pasted an advertisement straight into the server chat. However, whenever I traded somebody and copied their Steam URL, I instantly lost what I had saved to my clipboard. To avoid this, I would recommend making a chat bind for each of your advertisements. To do this, just go ahead and go into settings and click enable console. Then hit the tilde key and type bind with the key you want to bind, say in quotations, and then type out your message. If you accidentally overwrite a key you need to play the game, just go to the console and type unbind, followed by the key that you want fixed. Then go back to the control settings and change it back to the action it should be. Also, pro tip here, if you're on a server that doesn't allow buying quick sells, don't continue to press your bind saying buying quick sells. I know this from experience as it is a one-way ticket to getting temporarily banned. Number 8, use rep.tf. Due to the insane amount of scams that occur every day, I'm pretty sure that far too little people actually know about this incredibly useful resource. Rep.tf is essentially a simple website that compiles all bans a user has throughout each of the major trading platforms. So now that you know how to find somebody's Steam community URL, the very first thing you should do when you encounter somebody suspicious is to take their URL and chuck it into rep.tf. It'll then tell you exactly just how much of a scammer somebody is. So, for example, if Strife came here and asked me to sell my unusuals for PayPal, you could probably realize in a fraction of a second that he is 100% an impersonator. All I would do is take his link, chuck it into rep.tf, and see, wow, there's a crap ton of red here, he's probably a scammer. Also, even if just one thing comes up red, I would almost always decline trading with the user in question since, as they say, it is much better to be safe than sorry. Number 9, always have a calculator at the ready. If you're somebody like me, you've probably encountered many traders that literally negotiate at the speed of a snail. And I've noticed that one reason for this is that far too many people have to add up each side of the trade over and over again, probably because they're counting in their head or trying to use the standard Windows calculator. So to speed up the negotiating process, I would almost always recommend having a physical calculator right in front of you. It is far easier to use than trying to figure out how the garbage Windows calculator works, and you can use it to make quick and efficient calculations. In my opinion, your best bet is to just use a standard scientific calculator, like one that you would probably use in school. Your phone's calculator is probably a little bit too annoying to use, and a graphing calculator is obviously massive overkill. Number 10, use price suggestions to find rare items without backpack.tf premium. Since I have backpack.tf premium myself, I've had a lot of people add me and ask me if I could do a quick unusual search for them to find a hat that is not on the market. Unfortunately, this is strictly forbidden by the backpack.tf rules, so I really can't do this without getting a penalty. However, there is an easy way to find rare hats without actually having premium, and I don't really think that a lot of people really know about it. what you need to do is look into the suggestion history of the item in question. Pretty much all modern price suggestions use compare links for proof of sales, so all you gotta do is find the item in a recent price suggestion, click its history, and find the person who currently owns it. While you can't find every single version of a hat this way, usually the ones that you don't find are ones that haven't been on the market for a really long time, hence why they were not used as proof in the price suggestion in the first place. Anyway, that about wraps up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully some of these tips will help you become a better trader in the long run. Also, even if you knew about most of these techniques in advance, it should at least make you feel a little bit better about how knowledgeable you really are. I have a ton more ideas for a second episode, so if this one does well enough, I will be sure to make a sequel at some point in the future. Anyway, until next time guys, thanks for watching.